We have a quorum of 7 members. Byron should be showing up shortly, and I think we'll have Jackie Snelling has been approved for a medical exemption for remote participation. Jackie, for the record, could you state your location?
Yes.
Yes.
I have an echo, but I am at home in Arlington.
Great. Thank you, Jackie.
Near the famous Arlington Mountains.
Right, exactly.
That's right. That's those famous Arlington Mountains.
The Sycamore Range.
We will always
Arlington
have
Ridge.
an echo if you are, unless everyone is muted when I speak, it will echo.
I think we are muted.
Okay, well, someone isn't.
Somebody else.
Okay. So I think we're going to get started here. I think the first item we have is public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening? Oh. And we just finished our public comment section, and so we'll turn it over to our special guest this evening, Ms. Coffey.
Thank you.
Our board liaison for this year.
Yeah, Miranda.
And Miranda, sorry, for the record, could you state, you've had a medical exemption approved for remote participation, but could you state your location for the record?
Yes, I'm in Arlington, Virginia.
Thank you very much. All right. Would you like to go now, or you want to hang out for a little bit?
It is up to you all. I will probably hang out for the whole meeting anyways. So if you'd rather I talk now and then observe later, or observe now and talk later, either way is fine.
Okay. It's really, you're the board member, so it's really your discretion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to introduce myself now since I'm here. And I know a couple of you, but not everyone. So I'm Maureen. I'm one of our 2 new board members that started on January 1st of this year. I'm really excited to be working with ITAC, and am the youngest board member we've ever had, and as well as the first ever renter we've elected to the board. My background is in public policy, and so I've worked at the Center for American Progress, Institute for Women's Policy Research. I started very early in my career doing analyses of discrimination in home mortgage and other credit markets, so fair housing and fair lending and Equal Credit Opportunity Act enforcement. I am really excited to work with the board. And I think that technology and digital infrastructure is a huge part of where Arlington can do a lot better. One of my priorities for the year, but also for the next 4 years and beyond, is on engagement and what we can do. You know, I think people often think of working on engagement as more engagement, but I think in a lot of ways what we really need is better engagement. And so I know I've talked with Frank and John about the website and a lot of things with that need to change. And I think, you know, making sure that people who want to get involved, who are going to look for resources, who are looking for what the county is already doing for them, that they can actually find that information is so critical. I mean, I am a very tech savvy, English as a first language young person, and there are times where I can't find a page on our website that I know I've seen before, right? Like you click through a web of links and you get to something that's like, oh, this is actually what I was looking for. But then once you close that tab, if you can make it back to that page is a second challenge. And so I think things like that, you know, I've been really active in talking with our staff about what is going on, what should be going on, how do we get from where we are now to where we want to be. And then I think also just really recognizing that technology is and is going to continue to be at the forefront of what local government does. And while I think the last couple of decades of local government systems expansion have been really focused on internal systems and how technology can work for the people working at the county. I think the next stage that really needs to happen is how do we make technology work for our residents and our users, so to speak, and making sure that that experience is accessible, safe, reliable. I know that you all are going to talk about data security and cybersecurity, and I think that's really important. I think we often understate the risks of the level of connectedness that we all have. It can be really good in a lot of ways, but we're sharing a lot more of ourselves than we realize. And so I think that's kind of generally where I'm at. I know I've talked with a number of you about making sure we have some sort of master plan or maybe some level of that, right? Of saying how do we get every department actually on the same page, that we know, DHS and DES and Parks and Rec aren't all using 10 different softwares, but really migrating into one system that works together. I see Jackie excited. And I think that is a place that Arlington is well positioned to lead, right? We're a well-educated community who is engaged with technology, that has technology infrastructure here. And so there's a good case to be made for us to try and really be leading on that as a community. And I think it would also just help a lot of things within the government run more smoothly as well. But yeah, I am your liaison. I'm still learning this role. I'm learning a lot of new roles right now, but I think I hope to be a pretty active and engaged person, especially on technology, because it is, to me, I think, a central aspect of every part of what we do now. And if we aren't getting this right, then I think that we are creating headaches that don't need to be there. And so, I don't know that I will be here every single month, but I really want to be available. And I know that we've talked about having maybe not monthly, but every other month or every 3 months check-ins. And again, I'm also just accessible via email or however else you guys feel comfortable engaging. If you have questions or recommendations or want to track down why something does or does not happen, I really am looking forward to being a partner in this and supporting also what you all want to be getting done.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves.
That would be great. Yeah, I would love that.
We've already met, so Jim, you want to take it away?
Well, why don't you take it, I'll go second.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gary Thayer, one of the technician members. What else do you need?
That's fine.
I think some of your tech is such a broad thing. Some of your
That's so
professional
true.
expertise.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'm a retired federal government attorney. My background is telecommunications and intellectual property, both at the Patent and Trademark Office and Federal Communications Commission. Last stint was public safety, information security, and cybersecurity issues.
Cool.
My name is Jim Smith, not a witness protection program. Really is Jim Smith. Lived in Arlington for about 45 years since I graduated from Georgetown, originally from Brooklyn. I also am a semi-retired telecommunications attorney, most recently in private practice with a firm called Davis Wright Tremaine, but before that I was president of an industry association of telecom companies called CompTel, which is now Encompass, and VP of a telecom company out in Dallas called Excel Communications. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, I'm Frank Jazzo. I'm vice chair, longtime member of the Tech Commission, and I'm also a retired telecommunications.
I was gonna say, wow.
There's a theme here.
Yes.
Is that why we were all sitting together?
Yes. And let's see, I was at one firm for my entire career, and that firm actually was in Roslyn for the last 26 of my 35 years. It still is there. So.
Good. We like to hear that.
And it was a great firm.
Yes.
So Norrin Lee, Director of DTS. I'm a retired Marine. I've been in private and public sector in various information technology and cybersecurity roles. Experience spans over 30 years in various roles. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
My name is Byron Zhang. I have been a programmer for 20 plus years. I lived in Arlington for about 20 years. I have always been supporting the federal agencies for various government agencies. I worked for Hewlett Packard for 8 years. Started my own company about 5 years ago. Still supporting the government agencies. That's it.
I'm Michael Cornfield. I'm a retired professor of political management from George Washington University. I can barely use my phone, but I did a lot of research and teaching about technology governance.
My name's Laura. I've been with Accenture for 5 years. That's my work intro. So
Yeah.
I've lived in Arlington for 5 years. I work for Accenture, which is a large consulting firm focused in cybersecurity.
I am Andrea, retired Army, currently serving as a system security engineer for the agency. I am a doctoral student that hopefully will graduate in August. Congratulations. Marymount.
Yeah.
Been on this commission since 21. In cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Hi, my name is Prescott Bird. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I work in cybersecurity as well. In the area. I've been in Arlington for 10 years now.
There's some folks online.
We're gonna have Jackie and them introduce themselves.
Randy, you want to go first?
Sure. I may be the only person who is not retired and not in cybersecurity. So I don't know. Are you guys hearing this awful echo as well? No? Okay. So yeah, I live in Arlington. I've been here for 25 plus years. I graduated from VCU and kind of came up, went to GW and have been here ever since. I love Arlington. And professionally, I'm a product manager and highly concentrated on exactly what you were saying, making systems accessible, making navigation simple, making it as easy as possible for people to get the information that they need when they come to a website or a mobile app.
Ready for me? Hello, can you hear me all right? I can't hear you, but yes, Jackie Snelling. I've been here 42 years, I think, or 43, somewhere around there. I'm retired FEMA, and at FEMA, I worked on emergency communications with NOAA and others on the implementation of EAS, but I also worked on with a focus on public communications and standards such as the NIST standards for privacy. And I also did the ready.gov guidance to the public. So I included guidance to the public on things like cybersecurity. So I've kind of been working from the public perspective on a lot of these issues. And I share a lot of, as you know, Maureen, a lot of the things that you mentioned, you will notice as you hear us later in the day talk about our budget priorities. These are all have been priorities of ours for quite a while.
All right, and Louise, did you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Louise Anderson. I'm the FiOS TV franchise manager. I've been working with the county for over 10 years now.
All right, I think that covers everybody.
Those who came in.
Virtually,
Yeah.
yes, virtually and.
Yeah, for those
and-
who,
Right? Just
Yeah,
for the
for-
benefit of those who came in late, we need one more introduction.
yeah.
Yes,
I'm Maureen. I'm one of the new county board members. I started on January 1st. And I will be your liaison for at least this year, hopefully into the future though.
Welcome. Welcome.
And we look forward to working with Maureen. Unfortunately, John had a family health emergency come up, so I'm taking over. That's why we have a vice chair. Anyway, think.
Good luck.
Yes.
Such a novice.
Maureen, did you have anything more for us? I think we had a pretty good idea.
No, I
We look
don't-
forward to
yeah.
working with you and.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, so.
And I think John, before he left, circulated our draft letter. I think, let's see, I'm not sure if you're on there, Norm, if you can pull it up. It looks like he's got Richard on there. I can forward it. If I forward it to your address, will you be able to pull it up? Or John thought Jackie might be able to pull it up for the screen, but it wouldn't.
Well, I mean, anybody on the screen can take over and share.
I have it, if it hasn't been updated. I have something from like yesterday or so, but he was.
It looks like it just came, or he just sent it around.
Oh, okay. Let me look.
4 minutes, 4
Should
minutes
we,
ago.
should we have Gilbert go first?
That's fine.
I can share
That
the
probably
list.
makes more sense. That probably makes more sense. Why don't we-
Okay, whenever you want to share it, I can.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think we'll go with Gilbert to give us a briefing on the proposed DTS budget.
Okay, Gilbert, you ready?
Sure thing. Okay, well, welcome everyone, or yeah, hello everyone, I guess I should say.
So just do a quick intro before you start.
Yeah.
So I'm Gilbert Pisano. I'm the finance and budget manager for DTS in Arlington County. So, and I've been with the county for about 3 years now. And before that, I was at Prince William County in the budget office. So, I guess to start off, this is our FY 2025 proposed budget. Just wanted to give you a quick overview in case you weren't aware that document is now available online. It's publicly published on the county's website. You can actually access that by going to the county's website. Under government, go to budget and finance, and under budget and finance, you'll find this tab that is labeled FY 2025 budget. If you scroll down on that page, you'll find a link in there that leads you to the FY 2025 proposed budget. That will open up the full document. That is the full county budget, and within that, there will be bookmarks or a table of contents indexed in the PDF that will allow you to jump to specific sections in the book. But otherwise, at this time, the county has published an entire book of everything that's included in the proposed budget. So with that, you might want to skip over to the DTS section if that's the area that you're most interested in. But please read through the county manager's message and some of the other content in there. It adds a little bit of context. This is a quick overview of the county's budget timeline for this budget process. Right now, we are rolling into March, and this is when the county board starts those work sessions with each of the departments to talk about the content that is in the proposed budget. The DTS work session with the board is on March 7th at 3 p.m. And that will be.
Excuse me. I'm not. Are you sharing a screen? Because I'm not seeing it.
Yes.
I think so,
Yeah, he's sharing it. Are other people on the call able to see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay, must be my problem, and thank you.
Jackie, try putting it in presenter view so that your tiles show the presenter.
Yeah, I'm gonna look and see if that's the problem.
I'll wait a moment just to see if you can view that.
No, you keep going. I can.
Okay.
I've read the budget, so I can imagine it.
Okay. So right now, after the work sessions are completed, the board will go into adoption. That's slated to happen in late April. So once that's adopted, then that will go forward. And that will be implemented July 1, 2025 or 2024. Sorry, I live in 3 years in finance, so apologize for that. Any questions on the timeline?
I know John Burke has actually RSVP'd that he will be presenting on behalf of the Tech Commission at the March 7th work session.
Great. All right, thank you.
And we do have a letter worked up, which I think we'll address after we hear from you.
Okay, great. Nora, would you like to talk any on the mission statement or the goals?
Sure. So basically what you're seeing here is, and it hasn't really changed since last year. Our primary focus is on the enhancing the whole customer experience in our customer service through technology leadership. And the goals is really what our lens is through, with the priorities still being cybersecurity, data privacy, and resiliency is number one. You can see with the other ones there, culture of innovation, transparency, accountability, safe and secure community, and economic, environmental sustainability. Some of the things that you said you're most interested in. Next slide. So these are the three pillars of what we do within DTS. They're pretty self-explanatory. One thing I wanted to add, a new one we put on there at the bottom of the middle column, is customer experience. So what some of you have been made aware of, we had an announcement, we created a new division chief called the Customer Experience Officer, and that person has been hired. You will be meeting her next month. She'll be coming in along with the new deputy director that we've hired, will also be coming in next month to give you an overview of who they are and a brief on that. So again, back to the main focus of just enhancing the customer experience, not just within the different agencies within Arlington County government, but also for our constituents. Next slide.
Okay. So this gets into a summary of our proposed budget. This is what is in the content that is in the budget book that's published online. So you'll see that for the FY 2025 budget, our proposed budget is $31,398,000, which is roughly about a 3.8% increase over last year. Because of rounding, it's actually presented as 4% in this this particular table. So that's about a $1.16 million increase. With that, we've also had an increase of 3 FTEs that will be increasing our FTE count for the department, and that's about a 3% increase as well. So you'll see that most of our costs are actually within the personnel, or I should say a big portion of our cost is in the personnel. And then we have non-personnel, which is, it's about 50-50 split, but that is a big portion of our cost. And so with that,
hold on a second. Jackie, did you have any questions on that last slide? I don't know if you're able to see it yet. The budgetary summary.
No, I can see it.
Any questions or?
Well, it doesn't. Well, I'm interested in what is the level below this. You know, so it's not really, to me, it's, you know, who the personnel are and what are the changes in personnel, if any, that kind of thing. And anything that's, well, the bigger issue we have also is technology in other departments, which is another question.
Understood. So after we present to the board in March, we can have a follow-on session with you all and do a deeper dive. On budget.
On what's the next level below this?
Yes, we can do a deeper dive on that after we present to the board.
Okay. So you don't, the deeper dive is not available at the moment?
So the only thing we're doing at the moment is what's publicly available. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into anything that we haven't briefed the board on yet.
Right. So this is the only level that's available, is what you're saying at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's why I'm saying my questions are at the level below this, so we'll see those later.
Understood. Thanks, Jackie. Go ahead, Gilbert.
Okay. I'll allow you, Nora, to talk about our accomplishments.
Yeah, so a little bit about this. This is just some of the major things that we wanted to highlight. The security tabletop exercises that we did with all the different department heads. We even did it with the board. There's supposed to be a follow-on with that. And basically just brushing off, what do we do? We gave some cybersecurity scenarios. How do we respond? Do we know what we're doing? And basically update our policies accordingly so we can be more efficient in that.
Went well as far as you're concerned?
Just say again?
The the tabletop exercises went well as far as?
Yes, they went very well. And the next step is
Obviously,
doing revisions.
That had been something our commission had been advocating for a long time, so we're very happy to see that.
Yes, yes, it was very effective. Other thing also, the digital, many of you are aware, the Digital County Survey Award, we took first place in the nation for the size of our population. Another thing related to the tabletop exercise, the Homeland Security Today's local Homeland Security Team of the Year, which is DTS and DPS CEM team. 2 folks from our team, 2 folks on their team, they were nationally recognized for the work that they did in this space. Windows Hello, and Windows Hello really is those of you who are, very familiar with technology, it's basically like FaceTime on a Windows box. It's something we implemented where you just look at it, you don't have to put in your password or anything, and so it's enhanced security, and it's an easy user experience. Yes. And the last one, migration to Teams Voice. So basically, we'll get rid of our phones, and everything's going to be a PC phone, if you will, and that's currently in progress. Next slide. So some of the budget highlights, really same thing that we're trying to focus on is prioritizing the growing needs to increase cybersecurity. Obviously, with AI and other technology enhancements out there, it's becoming an increasing concern. There's other ways that threat actors can come at us, but that's remaining a top focus for us, optimizing our operations, managing the budgetary pressures, and of course, maintaining everything through an equity lens. Next slide. And that's it.
That's it.
Short and sweet. Yeah. And again, it'll be more, you'll see when we have the meeting with the county board. Some of these slides are going to be the same, but we're going to go into more detail in the work sessions.
All right.
And that's on the 7th?
Yes.
March 7th, yeah.
Yes, next week.
I think those are streamed as well, right? I believe.
I believe so, yes.
So if you're unable to attend in person.
They'll have them recorded.
Yeah. And are there any questions? Jackie?
Yes, on cybersecurity, that is at an enterprise level. So my question is, what level of review are you able to do of any system that connects to your enterprise systems from a department level?
In what regard? So, for example, we have our security devices in place. Your IPSs, your IDSs, your firewall rules, anything like that. So any traffic that's going in and out of the enterprise, we're seeing where they're hit. If there's sites that have been blacklisted, for lack of a better term, they're blocked. When we actually brief the county board next week, we're going to have some of those stats listed out there as well as how many blocks we're getting on a regular basis. But I'm trying to understand exactly what are you asking specifically?
Because of the decentralized software systems, I'm concerned about the degree to which DTS has visibility of all of the possible entry points for cyber threats.
So we have visibility as far as anything that traverses through our infrastructure.
So
for example, ChatGPT. We can see how many people are using ChatGPT within the enterprise.
And any links or other things that come in through registration or external or systems that get external communication through departments?
Yeah, anything that, as I said, anything that's traversing through the infrastructure, we have visibility into. Now,
Okay.
there's obviously a difference between logs that are capturing everything to the people who can actually take the time to go through all those logs. So we're looking for some different enhancements to help us with that, some different tools down the road. But yes, we do have everything coming through.
Okay.
Y'all use Splunk? Y'all use Splunk to look at the logs and all that?
So I'm not going to say that here. What we
Okay,
use.
that might be an offline question.
If you want to shoot me an email later, I'll give you some more details. Any other questions?
Question about the AIM budget. Is that set? That's not within the DTS?
That's not within DTS.
Right, okay. Because we've been asked to make comment on that, so.
Yeah,
And I don't know if Gary, I think you had the discussion, oh, you have.
We have an item in the budget here, the draft.
Okay, so you do, okay. I know it's in the letter, right?
Yes.
But did you get a chance to, I think that was being drafted before the manager's presentation on the budget, wasn't it? So you don't have any figures at this point, right?
John may have some figures.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, unless he pulled it from the managers.
there's still a lot of discussions about
Yeah.
AIM that are ongoing.
Right.
There's larger conversations about AIM.
Right.
That needs to be tackled.
So, yes, and I think.
And the draft does have our recommendations.
It does, yeah, we do have a section in our letter on AIM as well.
Because there are some.
I may ask you, Gary, just to comment on that when we go to the shift to the letter.
Sure, certainly.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any other questions for Gilbert? Otherwise, we'll shift to our letter. Any other questions for Gilbert? All right, well, thank you so much, Gilbert. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You all have a good evening.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Take care, Gilbert. Thank you.
All right. I guess, Jackie, can you share the letter, John's letter draft?
You're on mute, Jackie. Jackie, you're on mute.
Sorry, I think I can. I'm used to Zoom, so I'm not sure. Does this mean I put it in? I'm going to share my screen. It says no files available. Not sure how to identify.
If I forward it to you.
I have it. It's open
Oh,
on
she
my
has.
screen. I have it open on my screen. I just don't know how to do it on Teams.
Where's
that
the
challenge,
right?
A little.
Okay, yeah, that might be, yeah.
Yeah,
Miranda, do you think you can pull it up?
If you could tell me, what mode do I do? I can put it in.
If you do share.
Yeah, it should be this.
I did share. It.
Did you click window after that?
Okay. Do you
Oh,
have
there
it? Thank you. Just hadn't used Teams before.
Yeah.
All right, since this
If
was.
only we could read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe make it a little bit bigger for us, if you don't mind.
I think so.
Oh,
Maybe not at.
Right.
Okay,
That's good. One back.
Or two back.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. I can read it.
Thank you, Jackie.
All right, why don't we, since we're just seeing it for the, I think it was just circulated, so why don't we take a chance to read it?
Tell me when you're ready to move down.
Okay.
I'm going to scroll up a little bit.
People should have it in their email.
Yeah, you should have it in your email, so you can look at it. Me too. Yes. Okay, so.
You have your choice.
Yeah, either on the screen or on your personal screen.
And John drafted this?
Yes, and I think Gary.
John and I were.
Yes.
And I contributed.
And we went through this at an earlier meeting, or at least a draft.
We did.
It has additions.
Yes.
I think it wasn't it based on last year's? Or did we?
I don't know.
Yes, it was based on last year's, but there are additions.
Right.
So tell me when you're done with page 1.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for AIM 997, do we have like a statement for what the party is other than AIM?
It's Arlington Independent Media, which is.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with AIM.
Yeah, but the rest of the statements are more actionable, and
Oh,
that one is
yeah.
just saying like aim, I think is your point.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't identify an entity per se, it's just.
Yeah.
Want to continue to scroll down?
Yes, I guess. It's
You
everybody.
want it on page 1 or page 2?
Page 2,
We can go to two.
Yeah, go to 2.
please.
Everybody's still working on it, or?
So this, all of this is getting brief when?
What's that? This?
All of this is going forward to the board when?
Yeah, they would, if we have it, we can actually adopt it tonight. Got it. But we obviously can take edits.
Yeah, probably for 7, like you said. Like, is that gonna be, what are we doing with AIM, other than AIM?
Well, and I don't know, Gary, you want to talk about the AIM part of it?
Sure, I'll do that. We took this as a fairly narrow question as a budgetary issue and what our recommendation should be. And I'll essentially read from what we have here, that number one, we do believe that an organization that provides this kind of function can be very valuable in the community. There is some value to that. There are a lot of things they can do for underserved, underrepresented folks in the community, as a citizenry writ large. And while we think they're worthy of support, we do have concerns that the board has already invested substantial funds into this organization over the years. And we know that for the most part, those advancement funds have been with a tacit understanding or explicit understanding that AIM would find some way to become more financially self-sufficient. And bottom line is that they have been unable to do so year after year after year. So our recommendation at this juncture is that if there is to be any further funding coming forward from the board to AIM, that first AIM as a prerequisite should demonstrate that they've been able to secure, basically confirm philanthropic support that would enable them to move or approach the situation of sustainability going forward in the foreseeable future, and not merely presenting us or the board with aspirational goals, because we've seen that before. And it's nice to have good plans and good desires, but at this point, you need to have some confirmed support in the organization.
So now they came recently here, right? Did AIM come recently?
It's been, I think it was last year, so maybe it's been about a year, I think. I think it was maybe about I think it was about
Late
April of
spring.
last year,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Well, they actually, they made a presentation to John and I a few days
Right,
ago
yes.
as well.
And we're gonna actually hold a meeting at the newish South Arlington Studios.
There was discussion about
I
doing
think
that
so,
in
right.
part.
We're looking to do it maybe in April, I think, was the.
There was a discussion of doing that. There was further discussion whether or not to do the first one there or to wait until they could have more of a kind of grand opening or soft opening at the.
Or the new
government
one
building
here.
Yeah. So it was back and forth. We could do either or both.
Both,
is the
right,
way it was
right.
left.
But we are looking to actually do a field trip there, so, and maybe 2 field trips, depending on how it rolls out, so.
Well, let me
yes,
just
go ahead.
continue with the thoughts that I have here. So the core of the recommendation is if there's to be any more funding, it should be contingent on AIM being able to demonstrate to the county that they've secured sufficient hardcore funding to show that they have a clear path to sustainability. They have not done so far. As an adjunct to that, we think it's fair for their expenditures for any funds that they have or be granted by the county to be very closely monitored and have results-oriented goals to know that they are staying on track, because we don't think there's any other way that they can demonstrate to the community that they're up to their charge.
Right, and I guess there are
That's it.
2 components to the funding that the county provides to AIM. One is straight for, there's a budgetary allocation, but there's also from the PEG channel funds, there's actually a part of the telecommunications tax that Virginia imposes on cable companies. I think it's a total of 5%, comes back to the county, and a certain amount is earmarked for the PEG channels on that. And it's, and I guess there's been,
That's an addition to the.
right, in the original, I guess in the franchise agreement, a certain percentage was earmarked specifically for AIM, but also APS TV and Arlington County TV. So the county, the G is the government, and the E, the educational, and AIM is the P, the public access side. So there, the PEG funds can only be used for capital expenditures. So that'll be useful, I think, probably in connection with the move. But a lot of day-to-day operations have to, they have to find another
Well,
way.
as I recall in the past, whether and to what extent there's any flexibility of having PEG funds or operational funds be kind of used in a cross fashion has been the topic of discussion, but normally it's pretty much CapEx is going to be CapEx.
Right. And, right, I know there had been the big question, can rent be CapEx? And the answer was no. And also, this is coming in the environment of that PEG fund is going downward because of cord cutting. But the state legislature just, I think they approved a new digital services tax, which would go on streaming and cloud services. Where that would then wind up going, but I think that's probably still a long way from actually being signed. I would be surprised if the governor would sign that. But I just saw something on that today, so I didn't make it to my usual legislative report, but it's something for us to pay attention to.
So our bottom line is our recommendation takes a cautionary approach that look before you leave and make sure that they can demonstrate a path to solvency.
All right.
If
I guess-
I may,
Yes, Jackie?
besides solvency and the other issues, we had also raised the question of their ability to demonstrate that they were in fact able to and reaching the audience that is their potential and the main asset that we would be looking for is that them reaching that broader public audience. I'm sorry, the echo is still there. Were you able to hear that?
Yeah, we don't hear the echo on this end, Jackie.
Oh, it stopped now.
Someone must be going off mute.
It's interesting, Jackie, because I hear it too, yours and mine. So I wonder why the room doesn't. Must be something with the connection.
It's because it's the mic in the room that's causing the echo
I see.
for us, not for them.
All right, so do you have some specific language you'd like added on that, Jackie?
No, I just wanted to make the point that solvency is part of it, but it is, and getting that support. But the main point was that they needed to be solvent and able to reach the audiences where we think that they have value added by being able to reach a broader part of Arlington. That was one of the main points of this type of media, is that it could be a community communication. And so it's not to be competing with other sources, it's to be augmenting that neighborhood and community base.
Well, if I could on that, Jackie, my sense is our narrow focus here was on the budget recommendation, not getting into whether or not they're meeting programming goals. That's pretty much beyond the scope of our recommendation.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. For budget, it is.
Well, that's purely what we're confining ourselves to.
Exactly, but
That's
it's
quite a
budget
thicket to get
assuming that it's budget assuming the mission stays the way it is, that it's that broader focus.
We can't hear you, Jack.
Oh. I agree. I'm agreeing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right. Do we have any comments on the proposals or comments, questions on the proposed letter?
I do.
Yes, okay.
And this is primarily directed to you, because it might be at the second level that you haven't been able to show us, and to Gary, who is an author of the letter, and to our new liaison, and it concerns business development. We've had a lot of discussions over the last few months about attracting new IT businesses to Arlington, filling commercial office spaces. And yeah, you're familiar, and with the AI tsunami washing over us.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, organizationally, what would be the best way for us to interact with whoever in Arlington County government is tasked with doing business development?
I think it would be your partner commission who has those direct engagements with AED.
Yes.
Economic Development Commission.
Right, and we have made those outreach. I think we need to obviously revisit them.
My question for the moment on this is whether that is too specific to include under recommendation number 4. Is that too much in the weeds, or should we add a sentence about that to that effect? To make it
a more of a collaborative focus that you mean?
Yeah, that we look forward to working with.
I don't see any issue with putting it in there, but I think you're doing it already, but I don't think there's any issue putting it in there if you want to add that to it, specific language.
Do you think it's important enough to add? I'm just raising the question.
You all are the commission, you're advising me.
I was looking at Gary
and you should be aware that we have had that outreach to the economic development.
Not had that, is what you're saying.
No, we have.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, John and Laura have actually gone to, I guess, at least one of their meetings, right?
Yes.
And we had some discussions, and I've talked to their chair, Bill Dunn. I think you know Bill. And Bill's another neighbor of mine, so up the block, talking about that sidewalk too, so anyway, so we'll try to stoke that in, and they have to do it
in the letter, or is it just sort of tacitly understood by all of us that
we'll continue that.
I
think so. I think that would be
okay.
a good question. I guess it's not directly, I mean, I guess it is in the broad sense relevant to the budget because.
A growing pie.
Right, we want to help, we want to help shift more of the burden
To mix my
commercial property
metaphor,
away
an
from
expanding
residential
pie.
property.
Yes, yes. Economic growth
Yes, is good.
solves a lot of problems.
That's right. Rising tide lifts all boats.
That too, yes.
Okay, yes, we will continue our efforts in that regard. Any other edits, comments? Otherwise, entertain a motion to adopt.
I have my hand up.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't know whether this requires a tweak or not, but there is a direct connection between having on page 2, having the ability to look across technology spending. Item
Right,
3. Number 3.
Yes.
And our ability to create efficiencies, and I'm not sure, it's not mentioned in any of these specific things that and that is somewhere we do mention efficiencies of the ability to look across, but I am concerned that the fact that we're not able to look at our technology services enterprise-wide and who has what kind of skill in their technology staff by department is preventing us from making sure that we have skills at an enterprise level for delivering, particularly when we're talking about the website, but it's really for delivering data and data analysis, both in terms of operations and in terms of public information, equally across the departments. And it may be that some of the more expensive staff that can do digital analysis and that can do I don't know, dashboards and make sure that when they're purchasing their software and designing it, that it's designed both for operations and for ease of public transparency, that we can't afford to have that staff in every department, but that we could afford to do it at a much higher level if we had them as a deployable team that was central. So I'm afraid that this decentralized approach is part of what is making it too expensive for us to fix department level information systems.
So would you like to add some language to number 3?
Is this part of the digital? It doesn't say, I mean, it says continue it generally, but it doesn't say, with a goal. It doesn't say that it needs to be enterprise, that it's coordinated on an enterprise level. We do say that about the privacy program, and we say that about the privacy program, but not about what we mean by digital transformation.
But it does talk about, I mean, the title of that section is the digital transformation of county operations and services. I think that's pretty broad.
Right, and then it says, so that there can be efficiencies, so that they can be redeployed to higher priorities. But if they're not looking at what the staffing is available and the budgets available for individual departments, because individual departments determine how much of their budget they're going to put for things like making data available to the public and for supporting operations. And so they're quite uneven.
Right, but I think our recommendation number 3 gets into that. The one requesting transparency of information technology spending across all throughout the other departments. That's been our ask, obviously for a number of years.
I know, I'm just not sure that the number 3 clearly states that. And if Maureen is still there, if.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's not on our end.
Jackie,
You say it again, we didn't hear you.
Does this convey that this means that they would, in order to do this, you would have to have visibility of the services across all departments? We don't have that.
Right, but I think we're, again, asking for that as far as a recommendation 3.
Well, I think if we want to say, we should say something about across all departments or enterprise at an enterprise level or something like that. So that we're not just talking about right now, when we say things like that, usually we're talking about DTS.
Right, but here we say distributed throughout other departments, much higher, that the government's total spending on IT is much higher and distributed throughout other departments with better visibility. Should be.
It says that in item 3. Yes, it says that in item 3 of the information. That is exactly the point I'm making. But what I'm saying is in the budget, when it talks about digital transformation in item 3 of the budget priorities, it's not clear that we're talking about being able to do efficiencies across the entire enterprise because we know what the entire enterprise services are. If whoever is doing.
Do you have a requested edit or proposed edit on that?
I was suggesting we could add enterprise-wide or something like that into that item 3, so it's clear. I mean, I don't know how DTS would be able to do it if they didn't have that visibility.
So just continue the digital transformation enterprise-wide of county operations and services in the title. Would that do it?
And maybe just its digital transformation generally should be supported at an enterprise level as it creates efficiencies that can be redeployed to higher priorities. So supported at an enterprise level.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
I am.
Gary, do you have, or are you taking notes there?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
All right. Any other proposed edits, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Oh, on our remote, how do you vote? Miranda, Jackie?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I think no nays, so I think the ayes have it. All right. All right, we will coordinate with John to get this.
I'll send you edits,
okay,
Stanley.
good.
We'll take care of it.
Coordinate, yeah.
Thank you. Sure.
And let's see, I think that takes care of FY25. As we indicated, John will be going to the budget work session on March 7th, the DTS work session. So that brings us to the Arlington 2050 kickoff, the Visioning 2050. I actually went in John's place for that too. I was well attended. I think about 200 people was it? About two. It was at the auditorium at Amazon's HQ2, and it really, I guess, focused on 4 main areas. One was the demographics, where the county is going, you know, age-wise, household size-wise, just taking a look at where things will be or trying to project where things will be in 2050. Had a demographer, I guess he's a professor from UVA, very interesting. Then there was a strong look at climate, the impacts of climate. They had Jason Samonow from Capital Weather Gang, Washington Post, spoke, and I think we're talking about the heat island effect. You know, DC, we're part of it, but not as bad because we have a lot more green space, I think, than lots of places, certainly downtown DC. So it's pretty interesting. I think we're probably having Jackie's Mountains, we're probably in better shape as far as rising water level. And then representative from Amazon, who happens to be Mr. Hartel, spoke. Holly's husband spoke about, you know, basically Amazon, what they're looking to do, and how basically how happy they are so far with having HQ2 there. And that was my first time at the space there, and actually driving around that part of National Landing is very impressive. The amount of development that's been there. You know, I've been going to the Pentagon City shopping area for years and years, but it's really picked up. And then the final speaker was the president of George Mason University, and they're expanding their presence in Arlington as well. And very, you know, their real focus is on having their students trained for the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past. So I was very impressed with the whole thing. And all of the participants got to fill out a postcard, and I should have picked up some.
Oh, if you guys want some, I have hundreds of
that
shares
right?
that I can bring
Yeah,
here.
we probably should pass it. We can pass it around at our next meeting.
I mean, I can literally go
Okay.
get them now.
All right.
So how do you get invites to that?
Yeah, so we invited all of the chairs of our commissions, civic associations, other like advocacy groups. You know, we had NAACP and LULAC and the Hispanic Parents Association. And then, you know, some of it is just, it was partially a curated list, and then it was partially, there was an online form that people could fill out if they were interested. And we were really guided by the capacity of the room.
Right. So,
you know,
because I tried to sign on because Libby Garvey had sent around some emails indicated there might still be some space. And by the time I tried, it was closed out. But it was live streamed. I believe,
live streamed. Yeah,
it's
recorded.
I think it's archived. There is I think there's a county website on the Vision 2050.
Yes, and you can submit an online postcard
Yes.
if you would rather do that than handwrite it. But, you know, we tried to get a cross section of a lot of the people who are very involved in Arlington and from varying perspectives as well. I think we could have done a lot more personally, you know, I think.
And this is just the kickoff.
Yeah.
This is only the beginning.
Yeah, this is just the kickoff, yes. So there's a lot more steps.
And the postcards, basically you're writing a letter from 2050 to now to say why Arlington is such a great place in 2050. And you're supposed to basically write that out. I think I was one of the few that, at least of those that mentioned our investments in information technology. So.
But that, you know, and that's part of why we wanted people from so many different things there, because a ton of people are going to tell us about housing and green space and, you know, environmental investment.
Environmental seem to be one of the largest topics.
Which is great and
which is good.
So important, but it's also, you know, we need people who are going to care about the technology side and who are going to remind us that you can do all these great things, but you also need to be doing all these great things. And so I think the more we hear from people, and like we can definitely make sure the website gets shared around, because there is that online forum, and the more you all should fill it out for sure, but also share it with your networks and people. And because I think there is like I felt there was like this feeling of like, oh, like we're all on the same page, but it was because a lot of what was being shared out was more of the fluffy values-based stuff and not the hardcore like.
Going for the tree
Well,
canopy.
how do we
tree
get
canopy, Make it pet friendly. You know?
Make it, yeah.
Trees and pets.
And I think it was interesting though at my table because we did some like parent share kind of thing where everyone wrote their own and then we shared out with our table group and even thinking about like obviously everyone was super pro environment and had like all kinds of great things, but within my table, me and we had a teenager from the Arlington Career Center, a student, and he and I had written actually carbon negative community, and everyone was like, oh, and so I think it's like different pathways to similar values, and that'll be kind of a later phase, right? Is like, great, we all want 10,000 million things. How do you fit that together?
And also, I think diversity was also a big theme as well. And how do we maintain and improve.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I think, if you can send us the link, if you can, I think you've had been on, I think some of our email, that might be the easiest, most green way to do it.
So true, yeah.
The link is on the website at 2050. If you just type in 2050, it'll take you to the page.
Take you right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have, I think the president from George Mason, it was particularly relevant for this commission. And one of the things he talked about is how we are moving towards an era where, because of the rapid change in technology and its role in education and work, people who finish college will be already, out of date if they're not in the workplace learning while they're getting their degree. And they have substantially increased their internship program. And they basically said he believes that is the wave of the future, and recommended, that everybody think about doubling interns, from Mason and other places in the workplace. So that was one of the things I wanted to look at the below the level budget that we were talking about, because I wanted to suggest that that for technology, starting that trend of using some dollars for technology, I know you have had some in the past, but looking again at potential increases of students from Mason and other places who are in tech studies would be advantageous based on what he said. It sounded like a good idea.
Was he talking in particular about the Arlington campus or
City?
only
Fairfax.
Well, they started at the university overall.
Yeah.
both?
But both,
Yeah, but a lot of what they're doing, expanding on tech and cyber, is going to be located at the new building that they're producing, and a lot of, work-based learning is definitely the new horizon of higher education. But what they're intentionally designing into that building, and I was able to get like a hard hat site tour of it recently, and it's going to be so impressive. But they're planning to have space within the building for industry, for businesses to be there and engaging with the students on a regular and like naturally occurring basis. So they're going to have like demonstration labs. They're going to have skiff space even within the building. And the whole point is to really say that the skills that you need and the workers you're trying to develop are things that are going to happen through this work-based learning. And we can sit them in a classroom and teach them Python, but that doesn't mean that they know how to do what you are doing. And so it's going to be really interesting. And I think that because the Arlington campus has already held a lot more of their graduate and advanced studies coursework. They're trying to concentrate a lot of that here, and then the proximity to the tech businesses and the defense businesses that are already here rather than their Fairfax City campus is part of what's appealing to them.
So I think that was actually.
It was one of the coolest things
Yeah,
I have to
yeah.
say.
I'm very positive as far as filling those office space, because
Yes.
that was the one
Yeah.
thing I think that came up in your discussion with the Economic Development Commission, was how to provide the workers for these.
Yeah.
And doing that.
Did any of the other universities on Glebe Road, such as my own,
Right.
are they in this ballgame at all, or is George Mason?
I mean, George Mason is really championing a lot of innovation when it comes to career driven. They are not necessarily abandoning the traditional higher education model, but I think they've been much more willing to say maybe this isn't working for everyone, and maybe we do need to question the higher education model. And I think that it's resulted in, I think they have one of the highest graduation rates in Virginia, completion rates for their 4-year degrees. They take way more transfer students and adult learners, so not people who are not 18-year-olds.
Program with the community college. Nova,
yeah, with Nova. And so I don't know that it's other schools and universities aren't doing it, but I think that GMU has been uniquely willing to say that this prestige model that we've all been, using as the inflation of higher education.
Something that Northeastern University has been known for, and I know they have a presence in Roslyn.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
That's my old office building. So I don't know exactly what they're doing there, but that's an improvement over the tenant that they had 2020. The committee to re-elect the president was head campaign headquarters. So I was glad I wasn't there for that.
Howard Cosell used to refer on television
Creep.
to tiny Northeastern University, which has 50,000 students.
Right. Yes. But anyhow, I think Virginia Tech is also. A lot of what they're doing is across the border now.
It is. Yeah.
Won't be able to get there if the arena's built.
Did that come out?
The arena did not come out.
The arena may be dead.
The
So.
Glendo.
I think so. It's not looking good right now.
The Glendo.
All right. Anyhow, so yeah, and I think I believe that there will be more on 2050 as we go on this year, right, Maureen? I think Libby wants to do some additional things.
This is the start, not the end. I know that we're working on. I think we've done a request for proposals to a couple of consultants to have more of a structured process that goes from here. But I know Libby is trying to, she's made it very clear that what she wants to do is to get to a couple of, 2 to 5 kind of different visions that, would come out of this at the end of the year that, after we produce those would give the community an opportunity to really engage, I think, on more of the trade-offs. And so I think the rest of this year is intended to be about collecting the data that's going to help us produce what are kind of the categories of things people are looking for, what are the ones that are compatible with each other, what are less compatible with each other.
Trees, pets, jobs.
Trees, pets, jobs. Well, that's a vision of its own. But I don't, I think we're trying to be very conscious of costs when it comes to this, and efficiency of everyone's time, both staff and community time. And so I don't know that we've quite sorted out, and I will say that Libby is leading this. I have not been leading this, so I have less answers than Libby does, but I think we're just in the process of making sure that we are going to do this well and do it right.
And I think Rue would like to be involved.
Yeah.
I
I
hope I can
imagine,
speak for all of us.
I was gonna say, I imagine the commissions are going to be a deep part of continuing all of this, so.
Good. I think it was a good start, and I think, like I said, it is archived, I believe.
It is, and it was very interesting. I mean, even if you just skip to the panel part, you know,
It's
the
on
rest of
YouTube,
it
right?
is,
YouTube?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And
And
it's,
I'm accountant, but yeah, it'll get you.
if you just go to, if you Google Arlington 2050, the primary like county webpage will come up, and it's got Libby's remarks from the January organizational meeting where she announced that we wanted to do this. And then it's also got the February 5 YouTube link. And then it's also got the link to the public input page. So that should be a reasonably easy way to get all of the information.
It's not Arlington, Texas or Arlington, Massachusetts.
That is not.
It comes right to Virginia.
Yeah, as Jackie had mentioned, if you just go on the Arlington website and just put 2050.
Yeah.
search.
There's not a lot else that we've got on
Exactly,
the topic. Not yet, at least.
Right.
Although there is a 2050 Wilson Boulevard.
All right, so anyhow, stay tuned on 2050. Let's see, that brings us to number 6, legislative update. Let's meet again. All right, well, actually.
You can't get rid of this job.
All right, the U.S. along with a number of our good allies, Australia, Canada, Czech Republic, Finland, France, Japan, Korea, Republic of Korea, Sweden, and the UK issued a joint statement endorsing shared principles for the research and development of 6G wireless communication systems, and recognize that by working together, the signatory nations can support open, free, global, interoperable, reliable, resilient, and secure connectivity. So you thought 5G was just new. We're working on 6G already. So
Did you notice that Comcast Infinity has a television commercial in which they call it 10G?
yes, that's a little, but what they're talking about is 10 gigabit.
Right, but they call it 10, yeah.
Yes.
They're being cute.
Little, yes, perhaps. We won't, since Kevin's not on here, I won't make any comment. Anyhow, this one you'll be interested in, Jim. The state of Maine has enacted a law allowing local franchising authorities to collect fees from streaming services owned by network operators using public rights-of-way in Maine municipalities. It appears that the law could require Comcast to pay fees on its Peacock streaming services local revenues. It seems like Peacock would be the only such streaming service that would be subject to this fee. But so Comcast is opposing it and had urged the governor to veto it. But in Maine, if it's not signed within 10 days, it becomes law, and apparently it became law. So I'm sure there will be some additional court challenges there, because I'm not sure actually the states are authorized to do that. But we'll find out. We'll find out. Cable trade groups representing the largest cable ISPs are challenging in federal court the recently adopted FCC rules against digital discrimination, which I reported on earlier. So more challenges in court. But court, we need to get some courts in those offices, empty offices. They're continuing to be busy. The FCC has adopted new rules to further protect consumers from unwanted robocalls and robotexts. The rules make it easier for consumers to revoke consent under the do not call list, and requires callers and texters to implement such requests in a timely manner. The FCC has adopted a declaratory ruling that makes AI-generated voices used in robocall scams illegal, effective immediately. The city of Bardstown, Kentucky has authorized the sale of its municipal cable TV and internet system, joining a number of other cities that have decided to sell their communications networks. And they actually are looking to use the proceeds to help other utilities that they operate. Verizon's prepaid business unit, Total by Verizon, has launched a 5G home fixed wireless access FWA internet service with unlimited data and download speeds as fast as 200 megabits per second for $45 a month for mobile customers using AutoPay. And the service does require purchase of a $99.99 router. The FCC announced that it would stop accepted new enrollments in the Affordable Connectivity Program as of February 8th, ACP. Congressional efforts, however, to extend ACP funding continues, so we may coming down to the wire on that, because otherwise funding will run out in April, likely is what's projected. Since January 1st, 2021, at least 47 new municipal internet services have come online, with dozens of other projects still in the planning or pre-construction phase. That's my legislative report for February. See, that brings us to DTS update. Norrin, Richard, you have anything?
So, Maureen, real quick, this is Richard Archibald. He's the Chief Information Security Officer with DTS. The only updates really is what I've already passed, is that we've hired the new Deputy Director, that's Laura Slavin, and we've also hired the Chief Experience Officer, who is Tracy Jewell.
Okay,
Tracy's
they'll
coming-
come.
They'll be at the next meeting to do their intros.
Okay, great.
Tracy's coming from Fairfax County Schools.
Oh,
And Laura was previously a contractor for 11 years here.
okay, well, great. We look forward to meeting them.
Very excited about it, but no other updates.
Okay, Richard, you're good?
I have no updates.
All right, good, good. That brings us to good of the order. Anybody else got any business they'd like to raise? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good meeting. Thank you, Jackie, Miranda, Louise, Sean.
Yeah.
Appreciate you joining us this evening.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everybody. Night.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Thank you, Maureen, for joining
Yeah,
us.
thank you guys for having me.
Keep coming.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Just end the meeting and